Have you ever noticed how your mind keeps going, even when the moment is already over? You leave a conversation, you move on with your day, but part of your mind stays behind, replaying what was said, revisiting what you meant, searching for something you might have missed. And the strangest part is this: even when life becomes quiet, your mind doesn't. Most people assume this simply means they think too much, that they are overly analytical, too mentally active, too in their head. But a mind that never stops thinking is usually not trying to create problems. More often, it is trying to prevent them. Your thoughts return to the same moment again and again. A conversation from earlier, a message you sent, a look you noticed, a shift in someone's tone. Something about it feels unfinished. So the mind starts reviewing details: the pause before they answered, the energy in the room, the way their expression changed for half a second. Details most people would let go of, but your mind doesn't. And once it starts searching, it keeps going. Maybe they misunderstood. Maybe something changed. Maybe you missed something important. So the thinking continues, not because you want it to, but because some part of your mind believes there is still something left to understand. Sometimes the thoughts return hours later, when the day is already over, when you are finally alone, when nothing is happening anymore, and suddenly the moment is back, not in front of you, inside you. Sometimes the mind starts asking questions. Did I say something wrong? Did they mean something else? Did that moment matter more than I realized? The mind searches for certainty, but certainty rarely comes. So one thought leads to another, and another, and another, until you are no longer remembering the moment. You are imagining every version of it, and without fully noticing, your mind is no longer focused on what happened. It is focused on what might have happened. For many people, this pattern begins much earlier in life. If your environment required you to read people carefully, to sense when something was wrong, to notice shifts in mood before they were spoken, your brain may have adapted in a very specific way. It became observant, highly observant. Your mind learned to monitor tone, timing, emotional changes, unspoken tension. Because awareness became useful, the more you noticed, the more prepared you could be. And over time, something subtle happened. The mind stopped distinguishing between real problems and possible ones. A small uncertainty appears, and the system turns on, not gently, relentlessly, because from the perspective of the nervous system, thinking can feel like preparation. Thinking can feel like protection. A mind that never stops thinking is often a mind that learned to stay alert. Alert to moods, alert to reactions, alert to what might change. And when this pattern repeats long enough, it becomes automatic. Your mind keeps scanning, even when there is nothing left to detect. Like a security system that stays on all night in an empty building. It continues running because it once had a reason to. This is why the experience can feel so exhausting not because thinking itself is harmful, but because constant vigilance never fully allows the mind to rest. Even in silence, something in you is still working, trying to understand, trying to anticipate, trying to stay one step ahead of uncertainty. So the thoughts continue, not always because something is wrong, but because the mind learned that staying alert once mattered, and patterns that once protected us often continue long after the danger has passed. But when you begin to see this pattern clearly, something changes. The thoughts may still appear, but they begin to feel different, less urgent, less authoritative, less true, because you start to recognize them for what they really are. Not warnings, just echoes of a mind that once needed to stay alert. If this reflection resonated with you, consider subscribing to Quiet Clarity, because sometimes the patterns that exhaust us most are simply the mind trying to keep us safe.